Alright, I want to say all praise to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah. Double honors to the apostles and elders of the great millstone that rule well. And salutations to you brothers that's pushing the truth and sincerity on the four corners of the earth. Alright, I want to get into this quick lesson about the mark of the beast, which is something that's being pushed out heavy right now amongst Israel and also with Esau. Esau is pushing it out on the media and the news right now. Pretty sure all you brothers are aware of the Wisconsin story. However, that's not quite the only story that's going out. They also have another story of how the credit card companies are pushing towards certain vendors, certain stores and stuff like that to convert to a cashless venue or a cashless store basically. And they're giving them certain incentives to stop taking cash. So as we can see, the scriptures tell us to look at the signs, and they give us signs and stuff like that. Measure the time diligently. We should be, looking at what's going on, looking at these prophecies. The spirit of Yahweh Shah is the spirit of prophecy. We should be watching these prophecies and the things unfolding around us. It's also like a time clock. So as we see these prophecies being pushed, that Esau is pushing these prophecies, we should also be pushing the prophecies as well. Edifying our brothers and trying to help seal the rest of the elect. So, Lord willing, I can get into this quick little lesson and be a little edifying. All right. We're going to jump into Revelation chapter 13, verse 16. This is Revelation 13, verse 16. It says, "And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead." Now, that word mark, as we all know, is a word that goes into incision. Okay. I believe the word there is karagma. It means incision is something that where you have to cut the flesh and insert this mark. Okay, so this can't be a doctrine or anything like that, or Sunday worship or anything like that. Okay, and it also says it also goes further in the detail talking about this here. Mark, it says verse 17, "And that no man might buy or sell, save he that have the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name." So if, let's say for instance, if you go to the so-called church on Sunday, you can still buy, sell, and you can still buy and sell if you go to church on Sunday. If you believe in Christianity, you can still buy and sell on Sunday. These are the things that's not quite stopping you. And I can't really see them holding up lines asking people if they're Christians or not when they're trying to buy some groceries at the grocery store. What's stopping somebody from like, oh no, I'm not a Christian. Let me get my groceries and be out. However, if you're inside the store and you got $1 million in cash, you want to buy a bag of chips, and they tell you, look, I don't care how much money you have, we don't accept that kind of currency. You need a microchip. Then you can't buy or sell. And when people are trying to sell something, but you don't have a microchip, you can't sell, you can't process money. What happens if they change the whole type of currency? And so through the spirit, the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone has brought out, that it's this microchip, and as we see, it's evidence being pushed throughout the whole four corners of the earth right now. It says verse 18, "Here is wisdom, let him that has understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. His number is 666. We know that number is 666. And when you go back into the barcode, the first line, the middle line, and the last line, they're all sixes. And that barcode was like the practice run. They gave all the items and objects inside stores what they call, I believe, a UPC code. And what this was they was trying to track the objects around the store, and how to order them and things like that. That was the biggest experiment that they did for tracking the people. Once you take away, a matter of fact, they use Walmart as well for another like a test run, and with their ordering system, whenever they get low on objects, the system automatically reorders. They know where the products are in transit and things like that. But if you was to replace all the items in the store, and replace them with people, you can see how easily they can maintain and control all that. They have different departments and different things like that. So like for instance at Walmart, they're getting low on, let's say, milk. They know when to order milk, how much milk they have, what type of milk they have, and then also on the whole other side of the store, they know, when car parts are getting low or things like that, so they can maintain anything from any kind of spectrum, with the with their tracking system, And so they use that whole system there as a big experiment just to get prepared for this. And now we see that, you know, they're trying to, you know, they're giving out all kind of excuses why we would need this chip, you know, for your medical records. What happens if you're unconscious and you get to a hospital and nobody knows your medical records, you know? I mean, we've been getting along pretty fine for the longest time now, you know, but it's all through the spirit and the prophecies that this was going to be pushed, you know, as well as with your financial records. You know, what happens if somebody steals your identity? We have all your financial records here, you know, or somebody identity theft. You know, they have all these excuses to why they need to push this chip, you know. But, you know, all throughout the spirit, we know that this was written about. This is in the scriptures. This is why you're supposed to read and study to show thyself approved. So when you see these things, you're not caught unaware. You know, we're not we're not ignorant of Satan's devices. You know, this is where all the scriptures is coming to be our wisdom and stability of our time. You know, the wisdom and knowledge of the stability of our time at this moment. So with this chip, you know, they're pushing to implement this chip right now at the moment. And as another little topic, as far as this chip, you know, I was talking with some of the brothers at camp, and I was letting them know about this. You brothers should look up what they call morgellons disease. Okay, I believe it's spelled Morgellons, morgellons disease. Okay, now this isn't going off topic from, you know, the mark of the beast. You know, you think, you know, what does a microchip got to do with a disease? Morgellons disease, like all the other diseases and stuff like that, are all man-made. You know, and this particular disease is something that you brothers definitely have to look into. Is something, it's kind of hard for me to explain what it is, but like, you know, like one of my brothers was saying, you know, and he did an excellent video, you know, like Moses, you know, not an eloquent speaker or anything like that, so I can't put it to you in so-called scientific terms and all that stuff like that, but basically I'll give it to you, you know, in Jake talk. You know, it's something that Esau done created that, you know, some of the signs that you might have it is under the skin. It'll look like, you know, hairs are coming out from under the skin, and really is really prevalent in so-called Edomites or lighter skinned people. You know, inside the skin, it'll look like they're having how do you say like thread or some kind of strands of like colored cotton, whether it be red or blue, coming out of the skin. You know, you might mistake it as hair, but it's like red and it's blue. And you know, when they test it, they know it's not part of the human body. You know, and these strands are actually living strands. You know, there's a video out there, you know, that shows this under a microscope, live morgellons under a microscope, and it's attracted to the human body. This is some man-made living type of organism, you know, that finds its way into the body. And also they're spraying this heavily out in the air, you know. And also this is part of the thing that's in chemtrails, you know. Yes, we know that chemtrails is part of it is used for the heart program, but also they're also raining down this Morgellons disease all over everything, you know, and it attracts to human beings. You know, they just spray like tons and tons and hundreds of tons of this stuff, you know, out in the skies, and it gets onto your food and stuff like that, and then it gets into your body. You know, predominantly everybody's infected with this stuff. You know, there's a you know, a quick little cure for it is I believe baking soda. You know, you can mix that with some water and you can drink that. But you brothers, like I said, look into Morgellons disease, and you'll see. You know, there's simple little tests you can take. Drink some wine and spit it out into a plate, and you'll be able to see the little parasites inside. But once this stuff is introduced inside of your body, what it does is it pretty much it lays dormant a little bit inside of your body for a while, and then the Morgellons, how do I say, it starts to self link up and replicate to form bonds with one another, you know. So at the end of the day, these little small strands and strings, they make their way inside of your body. They start growing. And its overall plan is to pretty much make its own kind of like a nervous system, you know, like inside of your body, how you have all your nerves and your veins and all of those things that are connected, you know. So it's pretty much like a huge nervous system, an artificial nervous system they're implanting inside of your body. Okay. Now, if you brothers do any research on nanotechnology, this is where it comes in. This is a multi-part, you know, study. You know, with Esau, he doesn't put all his eggs in one basket, so you might have to search multiple topics and put them all together. or when you look up, or when you look into basically with the mark of the beast, the RFID microchip, that's basically going to be the mainframe computer, to say. This is going to be where everything's going to be stored in this chip. Okay, now when they have what they call the morgellons disease, this thing is going to create, like I said, another nervous system inside of your body, an artificial nervous system. It's going to basically go inside of your body and create a wiring system, okay? A new networking system to transfer a lot of information throughout your body. So this RFID chip is going to connect with this new nervous system that's being created on the inside of your body. And if you brothers are looking into so-called nanotechnology, as you can tell, this is also like the mark of the beast chips, but these chips here are pretty much rain down on you in several certain ways. They're like the size of a grain of sand, This RFID technology is well developed. They're a lot more advanced than the things that they're really showing us. They have a lot smaller chips and things like that. But like I was saying, this morgellons is used for the mapping of the nervous system for this the communication transfer of communication for this RFID chip. Esau has a plan to just pretty much turn you all into robotics, and they have a way. If you brothers look up Barack Obama's Brain Initiative program, I think this was in 2010, where he basically, before they came out with that talks about the Obamacare, how he had it implemented around this year that they would start this thing for brain implants with microchips to be able to download people's memories for the cause of Alzheimer's. So if people lose their memory, they can re-download it from Alzheimer's through this chip. However, we know through the spirit, what Esau's trying to do with this is download people's memories and put them into these so-called robots that he's created through the DARPA program. If you brothers know about the DARPA robots, this guy's is pretty much is creating just looking at transhumanism. If you brothers ever looked up transhumanism, you see the end product where Esau wants to have a bunch of robots and things going along. Well, basically this is all these things come together to make one thing. Well, these robots, who's going to run them? Where's the AI going to come from? Well, the AI is going to come from the Brain Initiative program, downloading people's memories, certain people's memories, and putting them onto these microchips, in which the microchips are going to be circuit boarded through the nanotechnology and the morgellons disease. So Esau has a big plan, and for you scoffers out there that's talking about that the RFID chip isn't the mark of the beast, and you like the scripture says, you're just blinded because it wasn't given unto you. We see that this is being pushed hard right now, and there's nothing else like this out anywhere. This is something that was prophesied about 2,000 years ago. It sounds a little far-fetched, but when you look into it, they're spending billions, if not trillions of dollars on this. So Esau believes this, and as you can see, there's people being chipped already, and also as another statistic, a lot of Americans are already microchipped. A lot of Americans have already been microchipped. They've been microchipping prisoners for a couple of years now. A lot of prisoners have been microchipped. There's a story about a lot of Jake women that was microchipped in prison without it being told to them. Basically, they found out afterwards that they was microchipped. There's stories about a lot of patients who were getting surgeries, and so-called artificial prosthetics or whatever they were getting has the chip in it. And also, hang on one second. And also, you go get any kind of surgeries or anything like that, whether you go to the dentist, there's been cases of people going to the dentist and, inside of root canals or teeth that were being put inside of the mouth, there was a chip in there. And also there's people who talk about, their kids going into certain places getting vaccines or shots and things like this that, they have a alive and vibrant child, and immediately after coming out of getting that shot, their whole life is changed and they're the same again, A lot of the babies being born now in certain places, they're being chipped, but these chips aren't being activated until much later in life. They're planting a foundation to get everybody on board for these chips. And like I said, you know, at your jobs, they're downsizing. They're going through a big, large plan. If you brothers notice that these jobs, they're downsizing on jobs, letting a lot of people either quit, get fired, you know, just to push everything to the extreme, so where there's not very many people on the jobs. Once they start to reinstitute these jobs, you know, or the idea of bringing jobs back, that's going to be a prerequisite that you have a microchip. We need to know your medical records, all these records, blah, 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 blah. Everything, all these things are being set up, you know, for people to take this here microchip, you know. And if you look on your jobs, a lot of things at your jobs are being changed. I know at my job, they're not really forcing, but they're saying, you know, you can get a discount on your health insurance if you do this checkup, or if you do, you know, certain things like this, take this test, take that test. And I've known for a while at my job that, because they gave us a paper, you know, telling us about biometrics, and biometrics is it's a compound word, it's 2 words, bio meaning life, metrics is the measurement of, you know, so it's the measurements of life. Biometrics is but you know, you take a lot of so-called health screening tests and stuff. All that is the information they're going to put on the chip. It's the information about your health or your well-being, you know. So like, let's say if you know, your biometric says that you are 5'6", 145 pounds, with brown eyes, you know, so and so, that would be your biometrics, the information that's being stored onto your chip, you know. So you know, brothers, be aware, you know, if they're trying to give you a little discount on your health insurance, you know, especially ask what the discount is overall, because at the end of the year, you know, you might only save $60 throughout the whole year, you know, and it's a scam, you know. You know, don't get into all of that kind of mess, you know. And you can see it at your jobs, a lot of things are being changed. I know where I clock in my job, there's like a hand reader, you know. You put your hand on this thing and it measures basically the size of your hand, you know. They're getting you prepared to put your hand onto this thing to you know, to get scanned to get in, like at the place of Wisconsin, you know. But